Okay, first one, if the acceleration due to gravity on the surface of moon is 1.67 meter per second square and the radius of the moon is 1.74 10 to the power 6 meter, and find the mass of the moon. Okay, from this data we have to calculate, given the acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the moon as this one and the radius of the moon is given, so we have to calculate the mass of the moon. So for this we have to use the relation between small g and capital G, that is small g is equal to gm by r square. So we have to use this relation. So acceleration due to gravity on the moon is equal to g into mass of the moon by radius of the moon. Okay, square. Now from this relation we have to calculate. Given this g as 1.67 and this g is, as we know, 6.7 10 power minus 11 into, we have to calculate mass of the moon divided by radius of the moon as 1.74 into 10 to the power 6 whole square. So from this, mass of the moon is 1.67 into 1.74 whole square 10 to the power 12 divided by this one, 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11. So this can be written as 1.67 into 1.74 whole square by 6.67 into 10 to the power, this is 12 and this is 11, that is 23. So after calculating we get it as 7.558 10 power 23 kg. This is the mass of the moon. Now the next one. If the earth is 1/4 of its present value, present distance from the sun, the duration of year will be if the earth is 1/4 of its present distance from the sun, the duration of the year will be. So for this we have to use Kepler's third law, that is T square is proportional to R cube. Okay. Now that is T1 square by T2 square is equal to R1 cube by R2 cube. Okay. Now present distance, if you consider present distance as R, suppose if you consider R1 is equal to R, implies R2 is equal to R by 4 because 1/4 of the present distance. And next present time period T1 is 1 year. So we have to calculate the time period. Now substituting those, this implies 1 divided by T2 square is equal to R cube by 4 cube. You get cancelled, that equal to 4 cube. Therefore T square is equal to 1 by 4 cube. So we can write it as 1 by 2 square whole cube, and that is 1 by 2 cube whole square, like this also. So this implies T square is equal to 1 by what is it? 2 cube. That is 1 by 8. So sorry, T is equal to 1 by 8. So T2 is equal to 1 by 8 of year. Okay, that is it. That means if the distance, present distance from sun and earth changes to 1/4 of the present distance, then the duration of year will be 1 by 8 times the present year. So actually this particular relation is also valid for satellites also. Not only planet and earth, but also planet to the satellites also. Now based on that, another problem. Third one. A body is orbiting around the earth at mean radius 16 times as great as parking orbit the period of the body is now it is also applied as T square is proportional to R cube only. Okay. Now a body is orbiting around the earth at a mean distance of 16 times as great as parking orbit of satellite. Parking orbit of a satellite, that means when a body revolves around the sun in parking orbit, its time period is 24 hours. Okay, 1 day you can say. So for parking orbit means time period T is 1 day or 24 hours you can say. So therefore T1 is 1 day. We have to calculate T2. Given R is equal to whatever it is, R1 is R and R2 is equal to 16R. Now T1 square by T2 square is equal to R1 cube by R2 cube. Implies 1 divided by T2 square is equal to R cube by 16R cube. Sorry. 16 whole cube. Therefore T2 square is equal to T2 square is equal to 16 cube. That is T2 square is equal to 4 square whole to the power 3. That is 4 cube whole square. Therefore T2 is equal to 4 cube. that is 64. So 64 days. Fourth one, three identical bodies of each mass m located at vertices of a equilateral triangle with side L. At what speed should they move if they revolve under the influence of another's gravity in a circular orbit circumscribing the triangle while still preserving equilateral triangle. Okay, the three particles, okay, one minute. Three identical bodies, each mass m, located at the vertices of an equilateral triangle with side L. At what speed should they move? So they move so that they revolve under the influence of one another's gravitational field in a circular orbit, circumscribing the triangle, still preserving as equilateral. That means they are the three vertices of triangle like this. Okay. If they move in a circular orbit such that this equilateral triangle is preserved. Okay. Now for that we consider the centroid. Suppose this is the centroid of the triangle. Suppose if this is A, B, C, D, O. Now with this OS center, all these, because this distance is same from OBC, AB and OB, OC, OB are equal, because this is the centroid of the triangle, equilateral triangle. So with this OS center, all these three particles revolve such that one another's influence, and this equilateral triangle is preserved. Okay, so assume that first we consider the particle at A. So it is moving with a velocity v like this. Suppose it revolves with a velocity v, assume like that, so that the same velocity applied to all these particles. Okay. Now first we have to calculate the distance between these two. Okay. So this is L and this is okay, let us assume OA is equal to R. Okay, then But from this triangle, this is L and this is L by 2. Means this is root 3 by 2. So AD is equal to root 3 by 2 into L. But OA is equal to 2/3 of AD. As you know in this. So this centroid divides this medium in 2:1 ratio. So that this is 2/3, this is 1/3. So 2/3 into 80, that is 2 by 3 root 3L by 2. So OA is equal to L by root 3. Okay, this we can calculate. Okay. Now the resultant force on M due to M1 and M2, because resultant force on A. So actually what happens, this particular mass attracts in this direction, this particular mass attracts in this direction, resultant acts along this direction. Okay. So the resultant force on A is F is equal to F1 square plus F2 square plus 2F1 F2 cos 60 under root. But F1 and F2 are equal, so we can write it as root 3 F1. Directly I am writing. So but F1 is equal to G M square by L square. So writing here root 3 Gm square by L square. So this is the resultant force. So the resultant force under gravity of these two, resultant gravitational force due to these two particles on this particle is root 3 Gm square by L. But here it is given that the particle revolves only under the influence of gravitational force. That means when it is revolving means the necessary centripetal force is supplied by this gravitational force. Whenever it moves in a circular path, the necessary force required is its centripetal force, that is mv square by r. So that equal to this centripetal force, that is 3 Gm square by L square. But here R we have calculated OA, that is equal to L by root 3. So m v square by R place we can substitute OA is equal to R, that is this one. So L by root 3 is equal to root 3 Gm square by L square. So you can write it as root 3 mv square by L is equal to root 3 Gm square by L square. So will get cancelled, m also get cancelled, L will get cancelled. So v square is equal to Gm by L. So v is equal to square root of Gm by L. So this is the required value. Next, fifth one, two satellites S1 and S2 revolve around a planet in coplanar orbits. In the same sense. In the same direction. Their periods their periods of revolution are 1 hour and 8 hour respectively. The radius of orbit of S1 is 10 power 4 kilometer, full stop. When S1 is closest to S2, then find first one, speed of S2 relative to S1. Second one, angular speed of S2 observe relative to S. Now, here it is given two satellites S1 and S2 revolve around a planet in coplanar orbits in the same direction. Their periods of revolution are given 1 hour and 8 hour respectively. Radius of S1 is 10 power 4. Then the closest, then the relative speed of these ones. Okay, you see like this. Now, they are revolving around a planet in two coplanar orbits like this. Okay, so suppose this is S1 and this is S2. Suppose their velocities when they are close, that means in this position they become very close. Okay, at this position, anywhere we can write. This is the position where these two satellites become closest to each other. So S1 and S2. Suppose this V1 and V2. Then at this position we have to calculate the relative velocity V2 with respect to V1. Okay, given this is R1, this is R2. Okay. But time periods are given. So, first we have to calculate T square is proportional to R cube. So, T1 is given as 1, T2 is given as 8 hours and R1 is given as 10 power 4 kilometer. So, calculate R2 first. So, 1 by 64 is equal to 10 power 4 whole cube divided by R2 cube. So, R2 cube is equal to 64 into 10 power 4 whole cube. 64 is 4 cube into 10 to the power whole cube. That is 4 into 10 power 4 cube kilometer. So, we get R1 and R2. Okay. Now, when they are in closest position, relative velocity, first one, velocity of linear velocity of V2 with respect to V1, S2 with respect to S1, then is V relative is equal to V2 minus V1. So, that is, but V can be written as R omega. So, R2 omega minus R1 omega, that is R2 2 pi by T minus omega to omega 1. So 2 pi by T1, R1 2 pi by T2. Sorry, this is T2. Okay, 2 pi R2 by T2 minus R1 by T1. That is 2 pi. R2 is this one, 4 into 10 power minus 4 divided by T1 hour. Our time period is 8 hours. 8 minus 10 power 4 by 1. This is 1 by 2. Taking common, 2 pi 10 to the power 4 into 1 by 2 minus 1. That is minus 1 by 2. So minus pi 10 power 4 by 2 kilometer per hour. Second one, relative angular speed, that is second one. So relative angular speed is given by omega is equal to V2 minus V1 by R2 minus R1. That is V2 minus V1. That is this one only. Minus pi by 2, 10 to the power 4 by R2 minus R1. This one. 10 to the power 4 into directly writing I am 4 minus 1. That is minus pi by 6. Sorry. Actually this is 2 pi, so pi only. Pi by 3. Sixth one, two uniform spheres revolve in space about their center of gravity under the influence of their mutual gravitational attraction. Mutual gravitational attraction. Find an expression for time period T in terms of masses m1 and m2 and the distance between d, the distance between their centers and G. Okay. Two uniform spheres revolve in space about their center of gravity under the influence of their mutual gravitational attraction. find an expression for the time period t in terms of masses m1 and m2, and the d is the distance between the centers, and g. That means the time period expression must contain m1, m2, d and g. Okay. Suppose assume that the two spheres are like this. This is one, assume that this is a sphere and this is another sphere. This is another sphere, assume like this. Okay. So these spheres of masses m1 and m2. Okay. So assume that this m1 is heavier and m2 is, so that the center of mass is here. Assume that this is the center of gravity of this m1 and m2. Now these two masses revolve about their center of gravity. That means this like this and this in this orbit like this. Okay. So as the center, it revolves in this like this. And this has center, another one revolves like this. Okay. Now, if this is the, assume that this is the x is the distance from center of gravity to this first mass, and these two are separated by distance d. That means this is d minus x. Okay. Another one is given as time period. Now the gravitational force of attraction between these two is F equal to G m1 m2 by r square. R square means here the distance of separation is d square. Okay. But as they are moving, revolving in a circular orbit, so the necessary centripetal force required is supplied by their mutual gravitational attraction. That means this force gives necessary centripetal force for this system. Suppose we consider for the first body of mass m1, so that its linear velocity of revolution. Suppose v1 is linear velocity of rotation of m1. Therefore, the centripetal force acting on it is mv1 square by r. R means radius of its orbit is x. So x square mv square by r is equal to g m1 m2 by d square. Okay. Now we can cancel out this term m1. So v1 square is equal to gm1 x by d square. Okay. But as it is linear velocity, it is revolving with an angular velocity omega, then v1 is equal to r omega, that is x omega. Okay, where omega is 2 pi by t, where t is the time period of revolution. Okay, now substituting this x omega here in this equation, or we can write like this also. Here it is. So v1 is x omega. So x square omega square is equal to g m1 x by d square. So 1x will get cancelled. So x omega square means 4 pi square by t square is equal to g m1 by d square. Therefore t square is equal to, we can write it as 4 pi square d square x by g m1. Okay, now we can get an expression for time period, but we are asked to find in terms of g, d and m2 and m1, but we are not getting m2 term here. So to get that one, we apply the moments, law of moment, because about the center of mass the moments are 0. So we can write it like this: m1 x1 is equal to, moments about center of mass are equal, m2 d minus x. So already we have this equation x. So m1 x is equal to m2 d minus m2 x. So x into m1 plus m2 is equal to m2 into d. So x is equal to m2 d by m1 plus m2. Now substituting x here in this term, t square is equal to 4 pi square d square into x, that means m2 d by m1 plus m2 into here there gm1. So gm1. Okay. One minute. So sorry, here you have to write m2. So gm2. So this also gets cancelled. So t square is equal to 4 pi square d cube by g into m1 plus m2. So writing that t is equal to 2 pi square root of d cube by g into m1 plus m2. Thus we get the time period in terms of d, g, m1 and m2. Sir.